But
whatever.
there's this whole like, oh, well, they all need to be like oriented to the LMS or whatever it is, right? They need to be oriented to the technology. And it's like, do they?
Right.
Or like, can you just kind of throw them in and have them figure it out? Because I kind of feel like you can mostly throw them in and tell them that they have to figure it out. And if you said you're doing this for a grade, you're figuring this out for a grade, they would figure it out.
Yeah. Uh, Although some of them aren't even doing that. Uh,
It's like, I don't know how.
yeah, it's a
I
very
don't know how to move my mouse and click around. And
right. It's partly. I mean, this leads me to a bigger like theory I have, but this kind of like pretending that like any type of technological like software or equipment is innovation. It's just like a larger thing I keep seeing is like we keep pretending that like just because it's like on a phone now or like a PDF menu on a phone, all this goddamn shit we had to deal with, like I just am just like this isn't better. Like it's
well,
not more
my
efficient.
favorite is like meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
You know, they're all online. Why aren't we doing more things online?
Yeah, video essays and shit. Well, that too, and then you look at the prevailing wisdom of particularly our field and how to teach it. Uh, it's a lot of evidence-free assertions about how technology is good or whatever, just to like technology for technology's sake. That's what I mean. Like we pretend that it's
That's my entire
innovation.
practicum.
Yeah, we pretend it's innovation, but it's not really, like it's not really making it easier or better or more efficient or helping everybody understand. Like it's just another thing that they can sell to education departments or like uh, yeah, secondary ed schools. Uh,
Well, they're gonna do whatever
just more software. I mean, do you remember like
attracts the most enrollment,
yeah, I mean this
also.
was right you and I were in college and then into grad school, right? As like those smart boards started to become a thing, right? Like those like Prometheus boards and like they're all pieces of shit. Like like
Like those
Prometheus.
fancy like chalkboards that aren't chalkboards that slide around and light up and shit.
It's like yeah, it's like they call it the one we I had to deal with was called the Prometheus board, and it's just basically yeah a whiteboard but like on a screen. So it's a projector that you can like write on with like the stupid
Yeah.
tools that they give you that never work. They
Yeah.
had like some stupid pointer that just never worked and never you
Fuck
couldn't
that.
actually highlight and use it, and nobody on staff seemed to know how to use it. So it was basically just a very expensive projector screen.
Yeah, we just had like smart podiums
Yeah, we have that,
that
but
also had a computer, and our podiums were in the back of the classroom, so you didn't teach from the front.
wow, that's
You taught
stupid.
from the back,
Wow.
basically next to the students sitting in the back of the classroom.
I guess that works better for other subjects, but it definitely doesn't work for English, dude. I mean, that is not. It
It
just like,
just wasn't effective. Like I get it for like groups, but it didn't strike me as being more effective unless your like your entire class is like, all right, everyone get into groups and we're going to do this activity and then we're going to talk about it and now get back into your groups and this is going to be a semester long thing.
yeah.
I hate those classes.
What's what I mean? If it's a class where you just have to memorize facts and then regurgitate them onto a test, like it's one thing to be able to like lecture from the back with PowerPoint screens, but like that's not how you
But even
teach.
then, that
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily make it better. Like they want you in the
definitely.
back to like, you know, make the instructor a facilitator, not like have it be a power position, you know? Make it learner centered and not instruction centered.
Whatever the fuck that means. Like,
Yeah. Well,
bunch of
that's what
fancy
it all was. It
buzzwords.
was like just, put them in groups, be at the back of the classroom, and somehow this will put them at the front and like make them have discussion more and shit. I'm like, does it? I mean, it definitely makes it easier for me to walk around the classroom. Like, I didn't mind that. I didn't give a shit.
Well, let
But It's like when I'm talking, if I'm like trying to explain something on a slide, like I'm still going to the front of the room to point at shit and like talk to like
Right.
it wasn't any different. It's just like they have a harder time knowing where to look. Do they look at me or do they look at the screen?
Yeah. I don't use PowerPoints at all, so I hate those types of things. But I mean, you and I both know. I mean, especially in grad school, when I first had to read some of the pedagogy stuff, of which there's entire fields and departments dedicated
Yeah.
to. It's all evidence free, dude. I mean, it's just all the latest trend. They don't have to provide statistics or data that shows this improves learning
They don't have to
outcomes.
provide
Yeah.
opposing arguments.
Well, not even that. I mean, you would just like to think a little bit of evidence, be like, well, look, we saw, like a 10% increase in student engagement, or we saw a 10% increase in like grade point averages, like
Yeah, because
anything.
now all freshmen get iPads. At UK, at the University of Kentucky, all freshmen
Really?
got iPads. Like my
Wow.
last year in Kentucky, I think.
Holy shit.
It's
I
like,
guess I guess schools that have a lot of money are the only ones that can do that. So something like a big flagship research institution for a state
yeah,
that gobbles up all the funding. Yeah, I don't know.
wild.
It's just crazy to me that that's allowed to just flourish, that whole field of mostly grift. I mean, people can just say whatever they want and just invent some new education strategy and just claim that it's better, like
We
that it's
study
innovative.
memes.
Yeah, yeah. And there's no with no evidence to support it, no improved outcomes, nothing. It just, especially when I had to read pedagogy in grad school, I was just like, the evidence they provided was a couple students thought it was really neat. It was really cool. They really enjoyed it. A few students came and spoke to me after class, and that's all the evidence they provide in all of like basically composition pedagogy. I'm not sure about other subjects just because I'm not familiar with it, but it's insane. It's my whole
We
thing
had
on that.
speakers come to our pedagogy class.
What they speak about.
Just dumb shit about tech in the
Yeah,
classroom or
video
some
essays.
dumb
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, dude, that's what it always is. It's like,
Like
yeah,
their research about tech in the classroom. It's always kind of bullshit, though. I was like, I get it. You teach at Michigan. Great. I'm
and it's
glad
always
their
yeah.
writing center is flourishing.
People that teach at Michigan and barely have to interact with students
Yeah.
because they have like five TAs that do all that for them, and they just give their hour-long lecture and then go into their office and go give speaking engagements at other universities about how great they are at their innovative technology that doesn't actually
Yeah,
improve
this is also
anything.
the class in which every single class, for the most part, we would have to all sit there and type responses to questions in a Google Doc and like respond to each other in the Google Doc and then have that same conversation again out loud. And that was every.
Yeah,
And I was like, is this really the best use of tech in the classroom, in your opinion?